Hey there, this is Phil Marshall with Spoken, and I'm very excited to share with you our V2 product. Your first stage is in Spoken Studio to title your work and then upload your manuscript. And when you upload your EPUB, your Word document, or PDF file, we will then help you to deeply analyze that, what we call confabulate your project. Your project will go through 5 stages from project manager to lexicon to voices to passages and finally to the publish step, and we'll walk through each of those in depth here. The confabulate process identifies your summary, which is rolled up from all of your chapters if you have a multi-chapter work, as well as your topic tags and comparable works. And then, very importantly, you will identify what kind of narration you wish to have. Click the question mark and you'll see an in-depth description of single and dual and multi and duet narration. If you wish to go with either single or multi, you can also auto-generate the voices that are right for your narrator and your characters as identified from how you wrote those characters. We'll do an in-depth analysis of each of the attributes of your character to generate just the right voice. And you can choose between Hume AI or 11 Labs to generate those custom voices for your narrator and every speaking character. And then down below, you'll see that we've identified which of your chapters are likely in need of narration. We will go ahead and automatically filter out administrative data like table of contents, but you can choose which ones to go forward with as well. Keep in mind that Spoken will create front matter and back matter for your work, and so the front matter and back matter from your EPUB file you do not need to include in what is narrated. Now let's go ahead and make passages, and this is where the magic happens. When we make passages, we are analyzing every single line of every speaking character. We're understanding the character attributes, what prompt would be creating the right voice for each and every speaking character. And we understand the cadence, the arc, the timing of each of those passages. And so this does take a while, potentially, especially if you've got a multi-chapter work, but we will send you an email when it is final and you can come on back and manage the rest of your project. But if you like to watch here, you can see the progress as it goes and see tips down at the bottom of our animation as well. Now, here we have our passages prepared and we're ready to move on to lexicon. This is where you can help us to make sure that we get the pronunciation of each word and phrase just right. And we've started the process by identifying those words or phrases which might have uncertain pronunciation, and you can add your own. Preview how it is pronounced first and then add your replacement with the phonetic pronunciation, and then we will automatically replace that across the board. Now let's go ahead and move on to creating just the right voices for all of your characters and your narrator. Here, you'll see that we have each of those speaking characters identified for multi-voice works, and because we chose to automatically generate a custom voice for each speaking character, you'll see that the play button is there on the left, and you can preview for each of your characters. And then if we need to change that voice, we can look at how the character was, or the narrator in this case, was described and the prompt used to generate its custom voice. You can change the name of the voice, and then if you need to change the voice for the character, you can go on back and choose between a custom voice, a voice actor voice, or even use your own personal voice. If you're going to create a custom voice, you can change the prompt right there and then be able to then generate a custom voice using Hume AI or 11 Labs. Here we'll change over to 11 Labs and we'll generate 3 samples for you. And depending on which of the samples that you like best, then go ahead and choose that voice for your character. You can search amongst all of the custom voices that you've created in the past to be able to easily go back to the voices you've used previously. If you click on a voice actor voice, you'll see our growing library of voice actors that cover all genders, ages, and accents. We will surface the top matches automatically based on how you've written your character. But if you need to go and search the entire library, you certainly can and choose between your genders, ages, accents so you can find exactly the right voice. Each of these voice actors is paid for each of your uses. Last but not least, you can use your own personal voice to actually narrate any of your works, the narrator or characters. You can upload a file up to 10 megabytes of your own audio recording and make sure if you do that to make it a good range of emotion. But you could also just read our script, which will take about 2 minutes. And when you do that, we will create your voice as an instant voice clone on an AI model. You might find that we have identified the same character a few different ways in your manuscript. And that comes from how the character might be referred to in different ways in your writing. And if that's the case, then you're going to want to scan down and you're going to want to merge those characters because you are going to want to make sure that they have one voice and that we're dealing with them consistently. And so here you would just merge those characters, choose which ones are merged, and then click confirm, and we'll then merge those characters into the same. Now, finally, let's go to the real workhorse of the spoken studio, and that is passages. Here is where you'll find all of the passages of all of your chapters to proof them and make sure they're right. And at the top, you'll notice the introduction. We will automatically generate the passages of your introduction, but you can play them here if you want and regenerate them. You can choose which narrator you wish to have speak these passages, whether it's your main character or your narrator or even your own personal voice. And if you so choose, you can add your own personally recorded intro to help readers understand the context and background and why it is that only you could have brought this work to life. Let's look at passages, which is really where all of the in-depth work is done to make sure that your narration is absolutely perfect. What you'll notice at the top is that we have all of the characters identified for this particular chapter, or what we call an installment, and you can change those voices, if you will, at the top. But down below, you'll see your words and those passages. The color bars indicate the character that is speaking those passages or the narrator and the amount of padding or lead-in time that gives that cadence or that breath between the different spoken passages. And so you can easily drag left or right the size of those passages, and it will automatically and immediately be updated. But if you need to then go in and change something about the passage, whether it's the text, or whether it's to split or add a passage or add a line break, follow our cursor tips and you'll find easy ways to do that. And then for each passage, you can do a number of things. You can change which character it's assigned to. You can add a new character as well if we haven't identified all the characters in your work properly. You then can fine-tune your passage, which includes a volume change or speed change, and the all-important emotional cues as well, where you could type in any emotional cue, and we'll do our best to make sure that the delivery adheres to that guidance. And if you ever need to re-narrate a passage that's already been narrated, all you need to do is click re-narrate. Now let's talk about Speak It, which is an important and exciting function where whether it's 11 Labs or Hume, you can actually record how you wish this passage to be delivered, and we'll send that in and up and through the voice and bring that back as close as we can. And so this is an exciting new way that you can help specify the delivery. And if you ever need to delete a passage, you can do it right there. And now you are ready to make spoken. This is where the narration now occurs. We take each of those passages with each of the emotional cues and that lead-in padding for creating the perfect cadence, and it now goes through the process of creating the audio. And so as we calculate the number of words and the amount of narration that you've done. You can always monitor that at the top of your page, but always know that you can use the product and regenerate as many passages as you want, and you will not pay until the end. You only pay when perfect. Now, when we go down and we listen to the passages and how they came out, we are able to use the scrubber to listen to any aspect of these passages, whether they're very short or longer. And you can also listen to the entire installment, your entire chapter at once, which will give you that cohesive and holistic view of how it is delivered, which includes all of those lead-in padding times and all of that cadence. And after you have listened to each of the passages, if you do need to re-narrate any of them, you may do so, whether it has used a speak it passage you recorded or it uses text-to-speech. You can always regenerate as much as you want. You will not pay for those additional narrations. You won't pay except for your final word count when it's perfect. And now let's go to the final step and publish. This is very exciting. So you have your guidance for creating great cover art, the distribution endpoints that we are connected with, such as Voices by in Audio, and each of its endpoints requires certain things of the cover art, and so you can follow that guidance there. And then finally, you'll publish. You'll choose which of your chapters you wish to publish, certify that you have the rights to do so, and then we will put that final stitched audio file up and through a final polish of mastering, where we adhere to all of the ACX related standards on floor and ceiling leveling and reducing background noise. And then finally, voila, here we are at the end result, your audio files with your 5-minute sample, a zip file of all of your chapters together. You may download them individually. And we also offer the LPF. We are an approved partner of Voices by an Audio and approved to distribute through their service. If you have any questions at all, a great first step is to go and ask Patrick. Use Ask Patrick, our AI assistant, modeled after our real human assistant, to answer any of the questions that you have around the product. It's a great first step and can answer most of the questions that you might have. Now, if you find that you need more help, you can go back to the front of Spoken Studio and click the button to find yourself a Spoken certified producer. This is a growing number of people who we have certified as being very skilled in helping to perfect your works, whether it is single or duet or multi-voice. And then we will help you to find just the right person to help you bring this story to life. With that, we hope you will enjoy our V2 product, and we look forward to hearing what you create made with Spoken.
Write it, hear it. Any story, any size. Professional audiobooks in a click. Spoken.